halfway between, you know, taking from tier 2 to tier 3. What may have thrown him off in this case is, like I said, the build that Abver uses, used in this game, allows him to tech quite a bit faster. So that's definitely an advantage of that, in that, how do I say, it gives the ghoul player a little bit less window of time to kill off your acolytes when you're in the middle of tech, because losing them while you're teching basically means you can't replace them, so you end up really far behind in gold. The other thing that Ghoststop did very cleverly when he forced Abver to return to his base by harassing his acolytes is he used that as an opportunity to get a shade tailing Abver's army. And this is going to allow him to, well, you know, keep track of what Abver is doing. Okay, duh. I need to stop stating the obvious here. Let's see. Forget kind of what happens at this point. Abver is actually going to set up an expansion, and Ghoststop is going to see it, although he's going to kind of put off doing anything about it, and it's going to lead... This actually ends up being in my opinion, pretty exciting little game, especially for a matchup that has a reputation for being kind of boring and a pain in the ass. Ghoststop's second hero choice is a Death Knight. There may be other possibilities out there, but I would say that Death Knight is definitely the standard choice as the second hero if you're going Lich Ghoul against Fiend user. If it's a Ghoul mirror, basically, like both players are going Lich Ghoul, sometimes a Dreadlord can work really well as a second hero if you can get away with it, basically, if you can avoid your Lich taking too much damage. However, the Death Knight helps you deal with the focus damage from the Fiends, and his Speed Aura also is going to help you run your opponent's Fiends down if he tries to run them away from your Ghouls. Abver's got Destroyers out at this point, and that is why Ghoststop is running like hell, because Destroyers kick the hell out of Ghouls. Now, you'll have noticed that Ghoststop actually didn't build any Gargs up until this point. Now, I've seen people, even at the pro level, do both, but in my opinion, it makes a lot more sense to put off building Gargs as long as possible. Gargs can be nice for harassing your opponent's acolytes, but the chance of them getting webbed and getting killed and basically requiring either a town portal to save them or you just losing a bunch of Gargs to your opponent, they really just don't do as much against a Fiend-based army as getting more Ghouls and getting yourself to tier 3 so that you have the Ghoul upgrade. Oh, what the hell is it called? Ghoul Frenzy. Come on. Sorry, I'm a little bit off today. I've been off generally lately, but it's about damn time I put an audio out. I think it's been like a month since my last one, so I sincerely apologize for that, for being a lazy bastard. Ghoststop also added on a Dreadlord as a third hero. I wouldn't say that this is absolutely necessary, but it's definitely useful. One of the things that you have to deal with when you're doing this strategy is you're trying your damnedest to pick off as many Fiends as possible, and you can sleep the Death Knight so that he can't coil the Fiend when you're about to kill it. That's one of the uses for him. You can also sleep his Lich to keep him from slowing down your Ghouls with Frost Nova. Sleep is going to get devoured for, by the Destroyers. But your opponent's not necessarily going to be able to do that instantly. Also, since Ghoststop is using gargoyles here, that means that the Destroyers are going to have to be pretty careful about where they fly, so they might not always be free to devour magic on just anything they damn well please. There was an interesting decision point a moment ago that Ghoststop dealt with that I neglected to mention. Basically, he had his shade trailing his opponent's army. He knows that the guy's got an expansion up, which is just an absolute ticking time bomb for a ghoul user, because if that Fiend player gets an expansion up on you and has that for long enough, he is going to outmass you. And like I said, it's that situation where you have a good bed of Fiends with the heavy air, and that really screws up your ghouls, and the fiends prevent your gargoyles from countering it, and you're basically left with nothing. Anyway, Ghost Stop had the option to either go after his expansion or go creep jack his opponent. He went for the creep jack. In general, that is definitely that was definitely a good idea, because once again you have to keep the numbers on the fiends low, and he's also still able to make a successful push on the expansion here. One of the things you'll notice he did, rather than like trying to run through the towers and go straight for the acolytes, which could then run around and abuse the or have the towers sit there and damage you, he goes straight for one of the towers. This forces Abra to take his acolytes off gold and kind of cluster them around the tower, trying to repair it to keep it alive. So it ends up being a lot better, I think, overall. So if you are an undead player and you're assaulting an undead expansion with towers, it may be a good idea to go ahead and start attacking the tower directly, as opposed to trying to like sneak the acolytes out from behind it. That only applies if he's only got, a couple of towers. If he's got like 4 or 5 of them, for one thing, if he's got 4 or 5 towers, you absolutely do not want to bring your ghouls anywhere near that, because ghouls die so freaking fast to towers. It is not funny. Let's see. Basically, Ghost Stop has bought himself just a little bit more time here by, because he managed to he almost killed both of the towers. I think he didn't get the second one dead, because he complained a little bit earlier in the game of having a bit of lag, and I believe one of the observers, in not so many words, said that he was a titty baby and was always whining about lag. But from what I can tell in this game, I think he really is dealing with some of it, because he makes what would appear to me to be some laggy mistakes. Let's see. Rather than go back and try and put the finishing blow on that expansion, Ghost Stop, who has been very successful at killing a bunch of his opponent's fiends and picking off destroyers with his gargoyles, goes ahead and creeps, and he's got an extra hero on his opponent. Abver did not go for a third hero, and he's also got an advantage in hero levels, and that's basically how he's planning to win the game at this point. That's not, don't take that to be something that's absolutely always the best choice, but just keep in mind that hero levels are one of the potential ways to win an undead matchup. And a lot of the times when, something hasn't gone quite well for me, I've found that I'm able to pull from seemingly behind, because I noticed that I had a little bit of a hero level advantage, and I milked it for all it was worth by creeping or preventing my opponent from creeping, or by picking off his heroes so they wouldn't get experience, that sort of thing. Let's see. Let's talk a little bit about, I'm going to try and talk a little bit about micro. I don't use this, kind of strategy. I actually tend to go for fiends a little bit more. Generally what I do is, I'll grab like my whole army, like, my Death Knight, my Lich, and my ghouls, and kind of right click it on one fiend. Let the Lich fire off a shot on that fiend, and then once it starts to get low on life is when I go ahead and pop off the Frost Nova.